When I said, oh, my doubts and demons on their way. Every endeavor I had made ever is coming into play, is here and now today.
Yes, folks, and this is the moment. Let me introduce you to my most amazing guest. And first of all, I just want to say to all my audience out there, I appreciate all of you. You get to ring in the victory bell for being here and being amazing, because when you're live, you thrive, and when you're on the replay, you get to play again. And I get to play today with the amazing Dr. Jill Rosenthal, who is an award-winning Harvard and Stanford educated physician and a best-selling author who retired after a 35-year career and became certified as a mindset coach. Her extensive experience and training, coupled with her own transformation from a stressed, overworked, unhealthy physician, wife, and mother into a healthy, thriving coach, make her uniquely equipped to help others release unconscious thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that hold them back, and they can create their dreams. So let's welcome, without any further delay, the one, the only, super talented, super beautiful, the one who walked uphill to school both ways in the snow, barefoot, Dr. Jill Rosenthal. Dr. Jill, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm so pleased you're here. And if you're pleased to be here too, make sure you click that link down below so that you also get the speaker gifts as well as the potential to get a VIP upgrade. So let's not delay any further. So Dr. Jill, tell me a little bit more about, you were talking about originally you were an overworked physician and it affected every aspect of your life. Tell us, what was that like and how was that pivot into who you are now?
Well, I'm always me. I think at heart we're still who we are, but I'm also a very different person now than I was back then.
Right.
I was, like many or most women physicians, I was sister, mother, daughter, wife, doctor. I was taking care of everybody.
Yep, I know what that's like.
Except for one person.
Yeah. I'm the eldest of 15, so.
And and I loved my work, but I was getting paid for 32 hours a week. I was working about 55. I was taking care of my parents and then losing them from across the country. And in a 2.5-year period, I lost both my parents. My husband had to move to assisted living with Alzheimer's disease.
Oh.
I had foot reconstruction. And, all of this was happening, raising a 16-year-old at the time. And eventually something had to give. And, and what happened was, cancer. And so I had to stop because cancer. And so, during all of that, I had surgery, I had radiation, I had chemotherapy, and ultimately, my side effects from my cancer treatment ended up forcing me into a disability retirement. And
that's
so
rough.
I couldn't practice the way I wanted to or needed to for my patients. And so in my efforts to heal myself and improve my life, I ended up becoming a coach by accident initially. First I was working with coaches, and then I stepped into my first of God knows how many coaching certification programs, thinking I was just going to do this to get, help myself, and maybe I'd do a little coaching down the road. Well, I was wrong. I had to log a lot of hours of coaching to get certified, and all of a sudden I was like, I love this. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. It was something I had to do. I was good at it. It was like, this was my calling. And over time, who I was working with, and especially what we were working on, changed. And now I work with women professionals. A lot of them are physicians, on stress and overwhelm and burnout, which I believe was a big factor in my cancer. And in particular now, I help women who have or had cancer to release the emotional aftermath and wreckage that comes with a cancer diagnosis, even years after you're supposedly okay. So
Uh-huh.
basically, what I do now is I help women have a wonderful life despite having had cancer.
Gotcha. Yeah.
My
And
clients,
and
they're happier now than even before. And I
and
am.
I totally agree with that, because I remember there were times in my life where I said, "All right, you get a certain amount of sex, then a success, and then you'll be happy, or you get a certain amount of money, and then you'll be happy, or you get a certain amount of health, and then you'll be
Yeah,
happy." It's actually the other way around, and I realized
you have to be happy
um,
first.
you got to be happy first, then all of a sudden everything starts to release and start to line up, and it's so true. It's that people think, instead of saying like, "I'll be happy after I get this or this," say, "I'll be happy while I'm on the way to whatever the goal is."
You have to, because
Yeah.
if you
Otherwise, why do it?
you don't know how to do it if you haven't practiced it. When I was first coaching, my first coaching niche was in helping women with emotional eating, cravings,
Yeah.
emotional eating, and self-sabotage.
Yes.
And you can't hate your way to weight loss
No,
or
you
to,
can't say, "I
and
hate food. Food is the enemy." Well,
you
no, it's
have
not.
to
It's
if you don't learn how to love yourself along
yeah.
the way and be happy along the way, how are you going to know how to be happy when you get there?
Yeah.
How are
Because
you
I
going to know that you got there? There's always like the next thing.
and and you know what? Like, I can tell you from just personal experience, there have been periods of my time where I felt depressed. So, you know, you you get out of bed and it's like 11:30 at night, and you're like, well, what do I do now? Watch Netflix and binge something, and then eat some ice cream. I'm like, oh, that's terrible. But you know those are coping mechanisms, and it's not about the food. It's about the stress or the anxiety or just feeling upset, and you're trying to cover up your emotions. So
Right.
I know what
All,
that feels like, and it's
yeah.
logically, we know, wait, stop that. Not to do it.
All of these patterns are coping mechanisms, and
Yeah.
they're all things that we learned very early in life due to the
Hmm.
big T traumas, the little T traumas, everything we had to do to survive. And it made sense at the time.
Yeah.
But what kept you alive at age 3 is, as it
Yeah.
turns out, not always serving you as well when you're 50.
Yeah.
Um,
So you
and
have to learn to reprogram yourself.
in fact, it
Yeah.
may be hurting you. And so, what I do is I help people do that brain reprogramming so that, by
Hmm.
meeting that childhood need that never got met, and then they are free to do anything.
Yeah.
And so I do a lot of mind body work with people.
Yeah.
But all of those, people always make the best decisions they can given the resources and options they have available to them. And
Hmm.
to the outsider, they might not make sense. And even to the person doing them, like they're like, I can't believe I did that. But like it was anybody else who would have gone through what they went through
Yeah.
would have done the
Hmm.
same thing. And so like forgiving yourself and seeing where it came from is, that's like next level so you can move on.
Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, I got to give you the victory bell for that, because a lot of people, they don't realize. I mean that you can start to reprogram at any age what it
Oh,
is that how
totally.
you choose to feel, and
I've had
it's never
clients,
too late. It's
I've
never
worked
too late.
with people who are 80,
Yeah, yeah. I've had students at karate, and I talk about mind shift, where you go from white belt mind lock to black belt mind shift, and there's a reason why people who get a black belt in karate or martial arts of any kind, they're able to apply those skills in other areas. Same thing with, once you learn how to effectively engage your mindset in a way that is positive for you, all of a sudden you start to let go of that guilt. You start to let go of triggers that held you back and anchored you for so long. So now
yeah.
I want to ask you, there is a you have a picker gift for everyone as part of this big event that we're doing today, Potapalooza. So there's the link down below. Make sure you click on it, folks. And what is your gift that you want to give the audience, and what is your VIP gift if they upgrade?
Oh, I didn't know there were two, so I can talk
Yeah,
to you
different.
about a second one later.
Okay,
I
you can add
thought
that later.
I thought what people might like is um, a guide for basically creating your new normal after cancer. And it's designed for people who have they're
That's
either
my site.
they're finishing treatment,
Yeah.
or they have finished treatment recently, or they're 5 years down the road and they're still scared and suffering. And it's called You're Done with Treatment, Now What?
Yeah.
5 steps to stepping into your new normal. And um, it's designed for people who have had cancer. But the fact is that if you go to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
if you take the word cancer and substitute, fill in the blank chronic disease, or fill in the blank
Yeah.
thing that happened and shattered your life, right? It's the
Hmm.
same. If you had a divorce, or
Yeah.
something happened to one of your kids, or you lost your job, or like whatever, your dog died, that's still stuff that you have to recover from. It's still
Yeah.
everything that happens to us changes us. And one of
Yeah.
the things that often gets people unsettled, and this got triggered by a whole bunch of posts. And I'm one of the admins in a Facebook group for women physicians with cancer. And there was a
Hmm.
discussion about, I just finished treatment and I feel numb. I don't know what to feel. I don't like people, they think that they can just plop themselves back into their old life and everything's
Oh,
going to
and you
be
can't.
normal.
You
And
can't.
the people outside, looking at them, they're like, well, you look normal. Why aren't you like
Mm-mm,
back to
it's not the
normal?
same.
And it's not the
Not
same.
the
You
same.
can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And so
Yeah.
the answer is, you're not going to go back to your same exact life. You're going to find your new normal. And if you do it with some help, like, it can
Hmm.
be way better than it was before. And I have my clients tell me, they say, it's somebody saying, I'm happier than I was a couple years ago. I'm like, well, do you realize
Good.
that a couple years ago was before you had cancer? And they're happier now. I'm happier
Yeah.
now. And I'm dealing with, my husband he's 93. He's 27 years older than I am. He has
Oh,
end stage
wow.
Alzheimer's. He's in
Hmm.
hospice, right?
Okay.
I got stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I'm thriving because
Yeah.
I have learned how to do that. And that's what I want for every woman who has had cancer. That's what I want for the whole world, because we
Right.
all have stuff and we all can thrive despite that stuff.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love that. So we're going to shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit more about what I call the softer side of Sears, and just get to know you more as a person. This is what I call the speed round. So in a couple of words, please tell us, like, what is your favorite movie or book?
Okay. My favorite movie,
Yeah.
I would probably have to say The Sound of Music,
Oh, beautiful.
because of
Hmm.
what it represents, aside from the music and everything, but
Yeah.
like what it represents.
Yeah. Coming of age story, right? So, um, in a way, I mean, it's just a great story
Yeah,
and musically.
yeah.
What about a favorite quote? Do you have a favorite
Oh,
quote?
okay. My favorite quote, I'm going to have to go with the quote that's in my high school yearbook, and I'm
Okay.
I'm going to my 50th reunion next spring.
Wow.
And
Congrats.
it's to thine own self be true. And
Oh.
that's really, like, that's what I put in there when I was 16 or
Yep.
17.
Mm-hmm.
It's still true today. I hold honesty and kindness and humor and connection. Those are my highest values. So I'm going to go
Yeah.
with that. To thine own self be true. And that's what I spend my life with my clients, helping them to
Mm-hmm.
speak their truth,
Yeah.
even though they've been taught not to.
Yeah. What about favorite kind of music? What's your jam?
Uh, Okay. So I'm an old folkie. My husband's a folk singer. So I would
Ah,
say folk music, and I grew up in the 60s and 70s. So that old
mhm.
kind of soft rock and folk music.
Oh,
And
nice.
classical music too.
Yeah,
Um,
I like it. I like it. What about favorite? What is your favorite kind of food? I always find this fascinating.
oh, I'm a foodie. And I
Good.
eat a whole food plant-based vegan diet
Yep.
for the past 6 years or so.
Okay.
Um, so my favorite kind of food, I love Thai food. I love Asian food. But
Mm-hmm.
basically, give me the vegetables. If I had to pick one food,
Almost like
I think I'd go with broccoli.
oh my God! You know what? That's my favorite vegetable. We eat steamed broccoli. We give it to the kids. We put tiny bit of salt on top, and that's it. And but now they got into ranch dressing. But but the broccoli by itself, oh,
Yeah,
the
I love
best stuff.
broccoli and Brussels sprouts.
Hmm.
To all the people in the world out there, if you don't like Brussels sprouts, email me. I'll send you my address. You can send me your Brussels sprouts.
That's funny. Or just spice it up. Put on some Old Bay seasoning. You're good to go. Um, what about I find that as we progress in our lives. So, for example, my mother, I've been helping her for the past 5 6 months deal with uh, uh, getting admitted to the hospital, the ICU. It's been back and forth between the hospitals, ICU, step down unit, nursing home, physical therapy, back home, back to the emergency room, back to the. So we've been doing this dance for the past 5 6 months.
Yeah, I know
Uh,
that
she's
dance.
she's now home, and she's stable with 25% lung capacity from before. And I always tell her, the happier you is going to be the healthier you. And
Yeah,
it's for anybody out there who has to take care of anyone. Take care of yourself too. Be healthy, go to the gym, eat healthy, get enough sleep, hydrate. There's a reason why I drink 3 of these a day. So I drink almost 100 ounces of water. Well, I do drink 100 ounces of water every day, and it makes such a difference in
yeah.
in your whole
You,
life.
you have to put your own oxygen mask on first. And I
Hmm.
spent my life taking care of everybody else. And then, it ended up biting me in the ass, or more specifically, the
Yep.
breast. And um, it's it's really hard, especially for women, I think, and women physicians, who are a lot of the people that I work with. That we are trained to help others, and actually, when we help others, or when we are helped by others, our
Yeah.
brains release a whole lot of feel good um, chemicals
Yep.
and neurotransmitters. But you do have to take care of yourself first,
Yeah.
and I when I work with women who have had cancer, or who actively have cancer, um, I see my role as helping. When I help them let go of their fear and anxiety and stress and anger and
Hmm.
overwhelm, I'm helping to improve the quality of their life right now.
Yep.
But I also recognize that I'm helping to prevent recurrence. Or if I'm
Mm.
working with somebody who hasn't yet had cancer,
Yep.
or heart disease, or other cardiovascular disease, or diabetes, or autoimmune disease, I'm
Hmm.
helping to prevent those.
So, Dr. Jill, we are near the end of our time here. I want to ask you one last question before we head off. Um, you know, if someone gave you a blank check with unlimited resources, what will be your grand vision to change the world?
Um, oh, there are so many things. I would have to go with making sure that everybody was fed and healthy and had access to education, and
Hmm.
um, I that would have to be it. I really feel like to me, it would be, it wouldn't, I know I just spend a lot of time telling you have to take care of yourself first, but it would not be about me. I
Yeah.
have enough.
You got to help others too.
It would
I think
be
that
everybody else.
gratitude, that attitude of gratitude, just helping others, is when you start to realize, there are problems beyond yourselves, and it's almost a distraction from the problems you're dealing with, and it helps in some way.
It does, and you also have to, like, one of my coaches that I work with a lot of I have a lot of coaches.
Yeah.
And some of them say, you have to do well in order to do good.
Yes.
So you have to, if you, for example, in your business, if you make money in your business, then that allows you to give away services to people who don't have it. And
Absolutely. Think about every big law firm. They have lots and lots of money, but they also do pro bono work. But they got to be profitable in order to do pro bono work.
Right.
And
when my daughter was in a private school, and it was pricey, but I felt like the money, in addition, that I donated to the school, I sort of saw it as kind of the tax deductible part of the tuition, which enabled my daughter to go to a school where not everybody looked just like my daughter.
Gotcha.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Jill, we have to move on to the next. And I just want to say thank you so much for being here. You get a ring in the victory bell. Make sure, everybody, you click on the link down in the post. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here. As always, this is Coach Raja. Don't fake it till you make it. Believe it and become it. And we'll see everyone on the next show. Bye-bye.
When you throw a rock into a lake, what happens? No, there's a splash. You make an impact, and then you get waves. And then you don't know where those waves are going. Those waves are going past around the reeds, and you don't know where that impact is. So all of you out there, when you're on stage, you don't know where your impact is going to end. It's never going to end.